You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast with your dating coach, Trip, from tripadvice.com. Do you struggle with getting girls to like you? You'll learn step by step how to talk to girls to create deep connections, whether it be for one night of wild fun, a 1-week fling.
Are you currently involved in a sexual relationship?
Or for a lifelong partner.
Full of long-lasting pleasure.
Here's your host, Trip.
Hey, welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Trip, from tripadvice.com. And this episode is sponsored by Spartagen XT. Boost your sex drive. It is the all-natural supplement to help you boost your libido, boost your sex drive, feel and look stronger, and get your confidence back. Where? In the bedroom. So if you have a hard time maintaining an erection, then this is the product for you. I want you to go check it out at SpartanLibido.com. Again, that's SpartanLibido.com. That information is in the show notes. And why should you check it out? Again, because it's all natural. It's got vitamins and herbs, and it's meant to help boost and support your libido. So if you feel you have low testosterone, or you want to start really helping out your testosterone by increasing it, then this is the product for you. So go check it out at SpartanLibido.com. Now, today's episode, we have a special guest, a longtime friend of mine. Her name is Miss Kimberly Seltzer from SeltzerStyle.com. She is a style expert, makeover expert, and also dating coach. She works with men and she works with women, and she is really the go-to source for unbelievable first impressions. I almost have a little nickname for her that I just came up with. She's like the first impression queen, because that's what she helps you with approaching and with looking amazing. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how to have a killer first impression, how to use style to do that, how to use conversation to do that, how to really get rid of the number one problem that's preventing most guys from being able to approach girls and do it successfully. We talk about that today and more on the interview. Now, we'll get to that in just a second. Just for your FYI, if you have a question, you can call into the podcast, 323-432-0025, and ask your questions, because I answer your questions on podcasts where we don't have experts like we do today. So highly suggest that you take advantage of that so I can answer your questions. And we got a lot coming in, so we will get to you. Hang tight. 323-432-0025. Now, Kimberly is coming up here in a second, and like I said, I've known her for a while. She did a makeover on me. She made me look awesome, and she's an amazing coach and an amazing friend. And we talk about first impressions in this interview coming up right now. And just so you know, if you want to check her out, don't forget, go to SeltzerStyle.com, and she has a free gift for you. But wait till the end to hear where to get it, because it's going to help you. And all these links are in the show notes, so go check that out. All right, without further ado, here is me and Kim. Hello, Miss Seltzer.
Hello, Trip.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm so enjoying this 80-degree weather, and I hear it's awful in Chicago.
Yeah, it's awful in Chicago. You're in the sunny Los Angeles. Gosh, I miss it over there. We had some fun times over there, didn't we?
I know, I miss you. But I go back to Chicago, as you know, often. So
yes. So we met years ago, and that was one of the things that we connected on, because I'm from Chicago, and you told me you're from Chicago, and you grew up in a suburb like right around where I grew up, and we're like,
I know,
oh my God,
crazy.
And then we became best friends.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. Well, I'm so happy to have you on the podcast finally, and I apologize for taking so long to get you on here, but I'm glad that we're able to do this, because you are an amazing dating coach. You work with men, you work with women, you do a lot of style and makeovers for men and women. And I'm not just saying this. When you post on Instagram or on Facebook those makeovers that you do with those people, every time my jaw is on the floor. I'm like, what? I show people around me. I'm like, this is my friend. Look at this picture. This is crazy. You're turning people who you would never think would be attractive into really good-looking people all through your little makeovers. It's insane.
I know. And it's so fun to watch. And although, obviously the visual aspect of their clothes and the way they look in their clothes is, fun to see. But honestly, in person, it's amazing to see people's confidence grow and their attitudes, as they get into this new style, and they walk out differently. It's amazing to see. So that's, obviously why I love doing what I do.
Yeah, I'm sure just their body language changes a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely look more confident. I don't even know what it is. It's probably a mixture of the clothes and the body language, but it's really just incredible. And yeah, we worked together. You did a makeover on me. You brought me out, and I still
remember the salmon pants.
Are you kidding me? Those were a hit this summer.
Oh my God, they were so hot.
Yeah. And you remember? Oh my gosh, I love that you remember that. That's amazing.
Of course.
Oh yeah, I got the salmon pants. I got the John Barbados shoes. I got the Hugo Boss plaid button down, which is just one of my favorite button downs. Yeah, it was just, we did a really great job. And that is why we're here today. I'm having you on here because I want to talk about some of the, great work that you do. And what's really cool, and this is another thing I want to talk about. In fact, let's talk about this now. Mm-hmm. It just reminded me when we were talking before the call, is that you actually take women out like I take men out to the bars, and you help them. Well, I don't even really know exactly. I know you take them out like I take them out to help them meet men. And I want to hear about that. I think guys should hear about this so they can learn a little bit about the fact that women are being coached on very similar things. So tell us about this.
I know it's so funny because I'll be coaching guys, or I talk to guys and they're like, you coach women? Like, what do you women have to worry about? We're the ones that have to approach you, and I always tell, look, as women, we have a responsibility in making it a little easier for you guys, right? And so, there's kind of this thing that's happening today where the women are getting a little less approachable and men aren't approaching. So we're kind of all at a standstill, when we're out and about. And so terrible. It's horrible. And so what I tell women is that, you have a responsibility in inviting that energy to you and drawing men to you. And it's not hard, but women think that men should just automatically, be alpha enough. I hear this all the time. Well, how come the guys should just be able to come up to me? And it's not that, because I always say men are scared to death. And for the most part, I would say that they get in their heads, they stop themselves. They think that woman isn't interested because the woman has a frown on her face, or she's cackling in the corner with her friends, or her body language is completely closed off, or she's positioning herself away from all the guys. So they feel like, well, it's odd if they go up across the room to a table in the corner with 10 friends, So actually what, you and I do with men, I do with women in terms of positioning, giving, off body language and nonverbal signs.
Do you have them go up to men?
Here's what I do, and here's my belief, is that, and this is something that I think the younger generation is having trouble with even more so, is because women are becoming so independent, right? Even more so than any other generation before us. Now, I'm older than you, obviously, and so I'm kind of caught in between generations of the older and the younger. And what I see is that the women are feeling like they have to be the aggressor in order to get the man to notice them. And I see this in the way they date, in the way that they navigate a room, and the way that they conversate. So what I tell women, it kind of goes back to the days, I don't know if you're too young to even know this metaphor, but women used to drop hankies. Do you know this?
They used to drop hankies?
Yeah, I see. I knew that you guys. So back in the very old days, a woman would drop a hanky, a handkerchief,
Okay.
Because back then they had handkerchiefs, like cloth ones, which is so gross to me if you think about it. But right, like why did people have that? They didn't have Kleenex back then. Anyway, so they would drop the handkerchief in order for a man to pick up the hanky and hand it to her. So it was her kind of subtle, message or hint to the guy to come hither and pick it up. And yes, I'm available. And so that's what I tell women, that it's more kind of giving that soft signal for a guy to approach, and a guy will. So it's not going up to a guy, shaking his hand and saying, hey, how are you? You want to go out? Like, obviously that's not sexy, and that's not being in your feminine. And quite honestly, guys don't like that. For the most part, wouldn't you say? Like when a woman's that aggressive?
Yeah, because I know why I don't like it. I can explain it just because I teach this stuff. Is like it comes off a little masculine, to be honest with you, and I just don't like it. Like I'm not attracted to that. Like a lot of guys aren't attracted to that. You want a girl who's a bit more feminine. I mean, listen, if a girl does it, I'm not going to be like, okay, no, too masculine. Like I'll say yes, but if she's doing that, something tells me that the way that she acts in her life is masculine in all the different areas. And I kind of know I'm not going to like that,
Exactly. Because, what's happening, and this is almost like what I think in the world, like the roles are kind of merging together, and a man still wants to be a man and a woman still wants to be a woman, but like we're forgetting how. Right. And so when a woman is that aggressive, it almost emasculates the man. It's like, well, you want to be able to kind of take the lead and provide for her and be the man. I mean, most men do. So what I tell that, my ladies is position yourself and open yourself up to opportunity so that, so you allow the man to kind of ask you out and all of that. So here's, can I share a story with you to this point?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I was coaching a woman and, I'm so sorry. Do you hear that dog? That's awful.
I was so into the story that I actually didn't until you said
didn't?
something.
Okay. I was so distracted. Anyway, so we were in this bar, and when we walked in, I asked the woman, like, if you were by yourself or another woman, where would you sit in the bar? Now, if you can envision this, it was a bar that was almost a V shape. And at the end of one of the V's, there was 2 places open. Right. So that would be an easy, place to sit for the 2 of us. Now in the epicenter, right smack in the middle where the 2 lines met, there was a seat open. There was a guy next to that open seat. And then there was another open seat on the other side of him. So I'm thinking to myself, well, the best position is to be right in the middle. So you can talk to, the line to your left and the line to your right. And the guy right next to you. So I asked my client, well, where would you sit? She's like, well, there's, 2 seats open right at the end there. I'm like, wrong answer. And she's like, well, we can't go over there. We can't ask that guy to move over. I said, why not? She's like, well, that's so impolite. He started, eating and all that. And I always say, like, to women, and I think guys do this too, like we get so in our heads and we think for other people and we miss opportunities because of that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to her, the worst thing that can happen is he says no. And okay, so he's not somebody we want to talk to anyway. So I was kind of like modeling for her how it's done. And I went over and I smiled and waved and I said, hi. And he literally almost jumped out of his seat because he was so excited that 2 girls were saying hi to him. I said, do you mind if my friend and I sit here? Because, we enjoy sitting in the middle rather than the end. And he goes, oh, by all means. I said, well, unless you want us to straddle you, I mean, we could do that too. We can each sit on the other end. And he laughed, because giving little cute innuendos like that is also flirtatious. And so
the guy is always going to love that. You know what I mean?
They're always going to love that.
And you come with that energy. I mean, yeah, you come with that energy. We're not going to be like, oh, this bitch. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. And he, in fact, loved it. And so he moved over for us. And thank goodness we did, because we had an amazing time. We ended up talking to him the entire night. He invited us to a party afterwards. We completely had the bar at our disposal and created this energy where everybody started talking to us. So that's what I mean about creating opportunities. And a lot of women just miss those opportunities. They're not open to it and placing themselves with their body language, the physical part of, like a room, that kind of thing. And I know you teach guys this as well. And then, again, like even the way that you conversate, like that flirtatious remark that I said, brings it up to a whole new level rather than just saying, oh, excuse me, do you mind if you just move down so my friend and I can join? Like that would be a little different kind of way of approaching it, right? But because I was playful, flirtatious, he was all over it.
Right, and that just reminds me of, okay, you did that, and you could have easily not done that, right? You could have easily just been like,
totally.
Okay, let's go at the end. And because that little move you made to just go and talk to this one guy and get these different seats, just that one small, tiny move created this whole night for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm highlighting this part because I feel like a lot of guys also miss opportunities in the same exact way. They'll get a little nervous to go and talk to that one girl because she's with too many girls and it's intimidating, or she's just really pretty, or she's got like that bitch face on, so she looks like she's going to be really mean. Mm-hmm. And, you got to think of every single approach as an opportunity that could lead down an unknown path that could be incredible. It's like you never know what's going to happen. And that's one of the reasons why guys have to push themselves to make these approaches that they want to make instead of being scared. I always tell guys, or the guys I should say that want to get into relationships, that you could approach your next girlfriend. That could be her right there. And just because you're a little frightened, you're missing out on what could be an amazing, huge opportunity.
It's so true. And I see this with my guys too that I take out, that I honestly think that's one of the biggest things that stop people, is that I see both men and women like thinking for other people. Like, oh, she looks busy, or oh, he's watching the game, he doesn't want us to sit next to him, or whatever it is, instead of going in with almost like a kid-like curiosity of just being in the moment and doing something that you want to do. Because I always say there's no such thing as failure, there's only experience. And somebody who takes something the wrong way or they don't like it isn't your person anyway. So instead of taking it in as, oh, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have said that, I really missed the mark on that, it's like, oh, okay, well, that didn't work. And that's okay, and you move on. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and the right energy and the right people will invite you in.
Right, and it's so funny how illogical it is, right? It's like, well, the worst that can happen is that she just is kind of rude to you and, maybe says go away or I have a boyfriend. Like, that's the worst I've literally ever seen in the thousands of approaches between me and all my clients. But then the what awesomeness that could happen, the possibilities of the awesomeness of the yes are just incredible. Like, it could be amazing. Again, who knows? Maybe you end up, making friends with all those girls and you create a new social circle, and then you end up, I don't know, just being a part of this like crazy night or crazy social circle that ends up leading you down this insane path of meeting other people, and then that gets you a girlfriend and a new job because you're making the right connections. I'm going kind of far out there, but those are the actual possibilities. But on the other end, people will say, no, I don't really care about those possibilities because she might bruise my ego for 2 seconds. And I get it. It's scary. Trust me. I was there. I understand that more than anybody. But it was that logic that I really thought of that kind of pushed me out of that mode and said, you know what? Screw this. I want to see, like you said, I like that kid-like curiosity. I want to see what's going to happen. So I'm going to go and say hi,
Exactly. I know. I just find that we're all our own worst enemies. I even have I have a theory. I call it the zit theory. I know it sounds weird, but when you have a zit and you look in the mirror and you think it's like huge and it hurts and you think everybody's staring at it and it's awful. And then you go out and like no one even notices. Do you know what I mean by that? So it's like it's the zit theory. It's like we always think it's the worst thing ever and nobody else does. But if I went up to somebody and said, hey, did you see this zit? It's kind of like what I just did to you. Did you hear that dog? Right. Well, now I do because you made me have attention towards it. So in approaching, it's the same thing. Like if you highlight an anxiety that you have or something that's in your head by, feeling anxious about something and your body language is anxious because of it, because you're thinking it, then people are going to not want to talk to you because you're appearing anxious, but you created that, not them. The best example, can I tell another story? Am I talking too much?
No, please go.
Oh, okay.
I'm all ears.
I have so many stories. Yeah.
Let's hear them.
There was this guy, this is incredible. And actually you can see this on, YouTube because I filmed some of the experience with him. He, I would say, was about 29 years old. He went to Yale, and while he was there, he got in a horrible car accident. It was a DUI situation, not him, but like other people involved. And he lost everything, all movement of his body. He couldn't walk, he couldn't talk. He was in a coma for a very long time. And he came out of it and slowly, rehabilitated himself to the point where he was pretty much normal. Now, the only thing that was still kind of like a residual effect from it was he had this just little bit of an odd hand movement in his left hand. But it wasn't that noticeable, compared to, where he was. But in his head, he thought that everybody and anybody wouldn't want to talk to him and that he was odd and weird. But this is a good-looking guy, had so much going to him, smart, And so we went to Vegas as an intervention, and we talked to a ton of women. And, I finally said to him, I said, look, nobody else, it's like your own scarlet letter. Nobody else is seeing what you're seeing except you. But if you highlight it and you talk about it and then like apologize for it, then people will notice it as an insecurity. And when I kind of gave him that tough love and really kind of pushed him towards talking all these ladies, he was getting numbers left and right. And I'm happy to say he has a girlfriend now. And this was like after working with him. It was crazy because, again, what was stopping him was his own kind of gremlin, so to speak. And just he needed to get out of his own way and really just kind of get out there. And I have it on film where he's talking to like some really cute ladies at the pool, and he got digits that weekend, and he was just, his confidence really grew. And of course we did some shopping and photography, and that helped him as well. Right.
And I mean, it's just like you were saying, we're our own worst enemies. I swear, if there was a magic wand and there was only one thing that you could fix with all guys and probably all girls too, in terms of, this whole dating thing is like, okay, magic wand just gets rid of, all these fake, superficial thoughts that we have in our head prior to and during, talking to a woman or someone of the opposite sex or whoever. Right? It's like if we can just get rid of all those thoughts, that would clear up almost all the issues. I mean, a lot of the other stuff, like even clothes, I think. Clothes and just confidence and all the other things and all the little things that you could say and the flirty touches and all that stuff. Like all that stuff works and is really important, but most of it is all in how you're thinking and what your brain is doing before and during the conversations with the people that you're talking to.
It's so true. I always use the metaphor of children, as I said before. So you look at children playing in the playground, like especially around age 5, they haven't developed the filters. They haven't developed, hurt or experience enough that has hardened them over the years where they stop themselves. And that's really where it's coming from. Layers of, past experiences, people being hurt, and then you kind of build this wall up. And as a protection mechanism, and understandably so. And I just know this being a therapist for so many years. And what I find with kids, it's like, they just go up to someone, hey, you want to play? Can I use your shovel? They don't think to themselves, oh, I better not go ask Johnny for his shovel. He looks a little busy. Yeah, maybe I'll ask later. Like, they just don't think like that. So somewhere along the line, we develop that. And that's what I do with people, because I kind of go back in time a little bit and figure out maybe where things started and connect the dots so people can kind of push through it. And sometimes, just having confidence in the way that you dress, making some kind of an awareness of your body language, how you're showing up in your conversations and where you're getting stuck, and how to take it to the next level. So once you push through it and you get reinforced for it, you keep going. And that's how the confidence grows in anything.
Right, exactly. So true. Let's talk a little bit about clothes and fashion, since that is something.
Oh, my favorite topic.
Yeah, you're an expert in. Because we're talking about approaching here, and that goes along with first impressions.
Yes.
So, I don't even know where to begin. There's just so many different areas to tackle. Where can we start in terms of teaching guys how to have just a great first impression before the approach? In terms of fashion.
I think all guys need to keep in mind that, first of all, it only takes 30 seconds to make a first impression. And now they're saying it's probably even quicker. This is just what research says. And people are making judgments and assumptions based on two things: the clothes that you're wearing and the attitude that you have. So what you're saying, and for you to get in your head about what to say during an approach, isn't even as important as how you show up. Because women are making that judgment call on who you are based on your presentation. So if you knew, and again, this is research, if 55% of your dating success would go up just by changing your clothes, wouldn't you do it? Most guys say yes. And here's the thing. I love shopping with guys, and you know this about when we were shopping together. Most men are about effectiveness and efficiency. Right? And when I shop with them, we definitely go there. I teach you about your body type, kind of your frame, what looks good on your frame, and then what women find sexy. Now, here's the thing. We do notice these things, guys. I don't care what age group you are, what ethnicity, how tall, how short. We notice how you look, and it makes a huge impression on us. I did this cute thing a while ago, and I swear that I gotta get it out to the world. I went on the 3rd Street Promenade, and I interviewed all these people. I kind of stopped people, and I asked them, what makes your head turn? And I asked men and women, and all the women, every single one of them, different age groups, different ages, they all said a guy who's put together. So, and believe me, guys, we're really forgiving, if you maybe don't have that 6-pack and you don't have all of your hair, or that's not what's as impressive to us as you just caring about the way you look, and that your clothes fit, and that you kind of have something to say about yourself with what you're putting on your body. So that's a really good tool. I think, Trip, you experienced that when you were, and even the way you're talking, the salmon pants, and then people will comment on the clothes, then you feel really good about it. And, it's a conversation piece. And believe me, women will come up to you and say ooh, I like that watch, or ooh, nice pants. We comment on those things because we notice. Wouldn't you say? Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I get compliments all the time on that stuff. And, what that does, too, is a bunch of things at once. First of all, makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you that confidence boost because they're making you feel good. And she's complimenting you, which means she's already somewhat attracted to you, right? So she's somewhat attracted to how you put yourself together. So it really, that's what I always say. I actually, it's funny because I always say that fashion is it's one of the little tricks that has the most effect It's like the one thing that is the easiest to do and has the most effect.
Oh my God,
why you
totally.
have to do it. It's like there's nothing else like that in terms of all the different little techniques and things you need to learn to get better with women. It's like that thing is like, it's like start there. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so true. I mean, I say that all the time. In fact, like there's not many things in life where you get that instant gratification and reinforcement and validation, right? Because usually we're working on things, we have to practice. Yeah, I mean, a guy walks out of a store in a new outfit and he's walking differently and people notice. And then suddenly his confidence grows. And it can happen literally in hours. I see it all the time. And I get emails from my guys and they're like, thank you so much. You changed my life. And it becomes a domino effect. I went back, I got more. I just cleared out this guy's wardrobe because sometimes I'll go into the closets and I'll clear it out. And he's like, tell me what you think I should keep and we'll kind of sort through it. And I'm ready to kind of do my 3 piles and everything. Now, he just lost a bunch of weight, mind you.
okay.
I went in and I looked at him. I'm like, okay, I have to tell you that I'm literally going to throw out every single piece in here. Like there wasn't one thing. I took a picture of like an empty closet afterwards and all the clothes was on the bed because he didn't see himself. Like he didn't realize he was like, 4 sizes different. It was profound. And a lot of times that happens when you lose weight because you still carry yourself and look, kind of look at yourself as that overweight person. So it a little bit of body dysmorphia happens and you have to kind of, get used to it. But it's so cool when I went shopping with him to have him see his body, how it really looked. And then he said, he's like, Kim, I cannot believe it, but I wore the clothes after we shopped, and the next day, all these people were coming up to me and said, "Dude, did you lose weight? Like you're looking good." And sometimes people couldn't even tell like what he did, but there was obviously a different aura about him.
Right. It's just like one of those things, just so simple. You
Yeah.
just change, and sometimes that's as easy as a cool T-shirt and some nice jeans and nice shoes, and like that's it. Like it doesn't have to get complicated, doesn't have to get crazy. You don't have to get salmon pants. I'm just, I just dig that kind of thing. But either way, I mean, it can be really, really easy. What are some quick little tips that guys can take away who are listening in terms of style? If they just want to look better really quickly, go out this weekend and get some new clothes or something like that. Like what's a couple of rules that you have to follow that they could put to use?
Okay, so the first thing is every guy needs a good pair of fitted jeans, and I'd say dark washed. And the reason why I say dark washed is because you can, wear it casual and you can kind of dress it up based on, the top that you wear. I'd say 90% of the guys that I see and that I work with, they are wearing their jeans like 2 sizes too big. And I hear this, and I think you even had mentioned this when we first went shopping, like, oh, I don't want to look Metro, and I don't want to look like too LA, or like I'm trying too hard. Like that's something that
yes.
Right? But the thing is if you just try on the jeans, and even though on the mannequin maybe it looks too, I can't wear that, just try it. That's my advice, is just try it, walk around the store and see how it feels, because then you put your old jeans back on and you'll see how big they are.
Right.
You should only be able to fit around 2 fingers along your waistline, like if you put it right at the waist. If you can put a whole fist in there, it's just too big. I'm sure there's other reasons for that, but we won't go there. We'll keep this clean. No, but that's the thing, is that a lot of guys also don't realize the material of the jeans have changed drastically over the years. And there's some really like soft materials. That's another thing I find. Guys are really tactile. They like the way things feel. And so if something's like itchy or stiff, like they're not into it, even more so than women. So just go check out the jeans now. I would say the other thing is shoes. Oh my God, we look at shoes big time. Like if you have a killer outfit and then you have like gross shoes on, we'll almost dismiss you, because it's like you almost kill it. You know what I'm saying? So if you get like a pair of Converse, maybe to do more your casual look, and you can even wear that dressy sometimes, or just a nice black like low boot that you can wear as a dress shoe and or casual, that's a great start. And then I think the third would be a nice button-down shirt, because then I think that's just a nice look, especially if you're like going to a party, a date, whatever it is, you just look nice.
Now, a button-down to tuck in or to not have tucked in?
It depends on the shirt. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but if you look on the side of the shirt, if there's almost like a little scallop, like it kind of goes up along the hip line, it's meant to be worn out. If it's going all the way around evenly, I'm talking about the hem right at the bottom.
Right.
That's more of a dress shirt. And sometimes even the material, you can tell. So that's the first thing, is just the shirt itself. The second thing is your body frame. All right, guys, if you have a little bit of a belly, don't tuck in. Not a good look. It just emphasizes the stomach even more. But if you have a body like Trip, you're really thin guys, tall guys can wear it tucked in or out, just depending on like what you feel like. But like Trip, we determined like you looked really good with it tucked in if you felt like doing that, and with a nice belt. So
right.
Your body frame and then the type of shirt is really what dictates that.
Right, exactly. And I also remember is that when we were together and we were doing some shopping, we were talking about how jackets are really important too.
Yes, jackets are really important. I always say a staple for men are leather jackets. If you can get a nice fitted one, most of the time I see guys that are wearing these huge jackets and it just looks sloppy. Something that's really fitted, it just pulls together an outfit. Like you can have like a t-shirt and jeans on with Converse and you just throw a leather jacket over it. It changes the entire look. It has a little bit of a cool edge to it. And also, it's just, I think, a nice put together look. And I will also say women really like watches. If you're that kind of guy, like you enjoy a watch, find a signature piece. I think that was one of the episodes actually you and I filmed on YouTube.
Yep.
Was finding a signature piece. It's really important. Like for Trip, it was the salmon pants for sure. Like there was something about like you carried that really well. Not all guys could pull it off. It could be a watch. It could be a hat. It could be just like a bracelet that just says something. There was a guy that I did a virtual session with. I do virtual makeovers, by the way, which is super cool because it's just like no matter where you are in the world, I can do like a head-to-toe assessment in an hour and give you some tips. He was a musician, yet he was dressing kind of like geeky. He was reading like Computer Geek. And so after giving him some tips, one of the things we found on the internet was this ring that had like this little bit of like music notes in it, but it was really subtle. But it said something about him in the world, and he never thought about wearing a ring. It was super cool. It was like this kind of gunmetal type of material. And I just got an email from him, and he said, "Oh my God, I love the ring." And like women are commenting on it all the time, and it just like it was that piece that did it, So don't be scared to have a little fun with different things.
Yeah, and to just try new things and see what works and test things out. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes you put something on, you don't love it, and then you get a compliment on it. All of a sudden you're like, okay, this isn't so bad anymore.
Yeah,
exactly. Like you got to start digging it because you start to get, a little bit of validation from other people. And you're just like, oh, maybe this is pretty cool. And then all of a sudden you start rocking it and it looks good,
Yep.
I love it. And yeah, I remember another good tip that you gave me too that I will never ever forget. And it was something that it was just one of those tips where I was like, I would have never figured this out. Like it's didn't seem very intuitive. This is what it was. I don't know if you remember this. It wasn't with sport coats. It was like regular jackets. Mm-hmm. Because I'm tall and mm-hmm. my I don't know, I'm semi-disproportionate. Like my legs are longer than my torso, and I got this kind of taller body. You said to me, don't wear those short type jackets, like the ones that kind of mm-hmm. come up to your waist. Those are never going to look good on you because your legs are so much longer. So it's going to look funny. So you always want to wear a jacket has a little bit of length to it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's why so many jackets that I've tried on in the past never really looked good, and I never really knew why. And so now I'm always on the lookout for longer jackets, which, by the way, I'm pissed because it's so difficult to find.
Oh.
I'm like,
you have to go shopping again. You have to come to LA.
I know. I need to come to LA. We need to go shopping, go to a store that's like jackets for tall men.
Yes. Yeah, because your frame does dictate to what kind of jacket, to your point. I think what you were talking about, like you're more short-waisted and then you have like longer legs, and that it's unbelievable just the way things fall on your body can give you the illusion of being more proportionate. And then when you highlight the areas that are not proportionate, it looks odd. Yeah, and many people don't know why. So it is. It's, and that's one of the things that I think I take pride in when I do shopping with people. It's not like I'm a stylist and just throwing things on you and say, oh, you must wear this. Like, I want to teach people why things are looking good. So, my goal is to make you love shopping and do it on your own. And of course, I'm always here for consult, but because it should be fun, and it should be something that, people see as valuable for them.
Right, exactly. And yeah, using a stylist like you, which, by the way, if you're listening still, I highly recommend you contact Kim, because she really is amazing, and you're going to learn a lot of stuff about you and your body type that might be a little bit more difficult to just find on the internet somewhere. Just because everyone is shaped differently, you know what I mean? So it's some of those tips that are really priceless and really amazing. So that's awesome. Before we go, because I know we're almost at time here, since we're talking here about first impressions and approaches, from the woman's point of view, let's talk a little bit about what a guy can do to have an awesome first impression when he first meets a girl. We talked a little bit about getting outside of your head. We talked about how to dress yourself up to feel a bit more confident and look your best. What else helps in terms of meeting women in first impressions?
I think the biggest thing is not to try to impress us, but just try to get to know us, if that makes sense. It's like the more you notice something about us, you're present, you're showing up as confident and real and authentic, then we'll give you a chance, I think the biggest mistake that guys do is, they get in their head, they try to think of a line, they say a line that we all know and we've heard before, has nothing to do with us. They're dressed sloppy, they seem nervous in their body movements and language. So again, authenticity, showing up in a really nice outfit, and just get to know us. We will give you a chance. And here's the thing. A lot of guys don't approach like pretty women because of the very reason that guys are scared about, is that they're not going to, say hi. You men be the first ones to go up to that pretty lady, because nobody else does. That's the thing. And she will give you a chance as long as you're real, you're smiling, and you're just being friendly, and ask questions about her and get to know each other. The other tip I would say is within the conversation, and actually I have this could be a whole other podcast actually, is just about conversations and how to move a conversation from topic to personal. The quicker that you can get your topic of your approach. So say, what are you drinking? Don't sit there and talk about the drink for 10 minutes. Get to know her and why she likes the drink, or where is she from, something personal about her, because that will move the conversation and the first impression big time.
Yes, that is huge. A lot of guys kind of stick too much to the very fluff conversation, and they're way more on the surface for just too long and don't move to that personal. I agree. That was one of the bigger notes that I had to give one of my recent clients, is that he had so many opportunities to ask her a question about her or something a little bit more personal, and yet he wouldn't take it because he'd be a little bit too nervous. But I'm telling him that's exactly what they want to be talking to you about. Everything else is forgettable and boring.
Yep, exactly.
You know, Kimmy, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. This is fun.
Giving us all this awesome information. If you are interested in working with Kim or learning more about her, I want you to go to seltzerstyle.com, and that is going to be in the show notes, so you can go right to that link. Otherwise, it's just seltzerstyle.com. And Seltzer is her last name, Kimberly Seltzer. So you can see that right here in the show notes. Kimberly, thanks so much for coming on, and I apologize for this happening too late. If you've been listening to this podcast more than once, you notice I do a lot of apologizing to my guests, because lately I've been having guests on that I'm like, where have I been in my head that I haven't gotten them on sooner? Because we're already like 100 episodes in, and it's just shameful for me to not have interviewed some of my closest friends in the industry. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this, and hopefully you say yes to having you on again soon.
Oh, I absolutely. And you got to stop apologizing, because timing is everything, right? Just like dating. There's usually a reason. And so we're doing it now. And there's a reason for that. So
that's all
awesome.
that matters.
Hey, I wanted to mention, if that's okay with your listeners,
Please.
is that I do, and actually, thanks to your inspiration, I have a man's fashion manifesto that guys can download on my website. And I'm happy to provide a link directly to, if that's something that is easy for you. But that's something that a lot of guys enjoy, because no guy sits around with other dudes and talks about fashion. So this is your way of getting some fashion tips secretly.
Awesome. Yes. In fact, we'll get that link from you, and we'll put that in the show notes for the guys so they can download that and learn even more awesome fashion tips. And you know they're going to be awesome, because the stuff that we've heard today has been very helpful, and I'm always learning from you, which is really cool too. So thank you so much for being here. Check out those links from Miss Kimberly Seltzer, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. Over 18 and want a question answered on the podcast? Email all your questions to trip@tripadvice.com.